Hello and welcome to Fantasy Premier League, the D Unit's journey. I'm FPL D Unit. I'm here live in the United Kingdom. I can't believe I'm finally back, baby. It's cold. I'm tired. I've been jet lagged, and you're probably seeing this video for the first time and seeing me for the first time because of the fact I'm uploading this from inside the UK. So without further ado, I am top 23,000 still, just about, after this game week. Smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you're new, because trust me, I've got stuff that's going to blow your mind. All right, with that being said, let's get into the early doors for game week 17 and what I've potentially been looking at in my weekend of football. Now, I managed to watch most of the games on Saturday. I only watched one game on Sunday, and then I watched tonight's game. So, what did we learn from this week of fixtures? Well, there was a lot of things to learn, and what better place to start than the Manchester Derby? Now, I was watching this game on the tarmac, waiting, hoping that the plane would not take off before the game ended. I watched Bruno Fernandes somehow squander an opportunity in this game, and then I saw a penalty that should have been given on Rasmus Højlund uh, when he got taken out by, I think, Guardiola, but somehow that was not sent to VAR. Don't know what was going on there. Some controversy had to be said, but that was disappointing in and of itself. Thankfully, there was a penalty when Ahmad was clattered into, and Bruno Fernandes rightfully stepped up, and for the second week running got me 9 points for my team, and is justifying him being held in our teams. Brian Mbeumo is another one I'm going to touch on a little bit later. He also should potentially have just been kept, but alas, very hindsighty those kind of particular decisions. So Bruno Fernandes stepped up, scored, and then Ahmad, ironically, 115 seconds after the Bruno Fernandes goal, scored. Is that not just scripting football at its ultimate? That is just scripted football. I love it. It's great to see Man City imploding. It's great to see Erling Haaland, ever since I sold him, only returning I think twice in the 6 or 7 weeks now I haven't had him. Fantastic stuff. What a decision to go early on getting rid of him. It's definitely paid off. And it's safe to say that if you've got any City assets that particularly aren't Guardiola, I think Guardiola you could potentially hold. Everyone else is a mad sell. Look for the nearest store, look for the nearest bin, and send them on their way. That's pretty much where it is. So yeah, Ahmad, is he the best enabler in the game? Well, I think it's between him and Enzo Fernandez. Now, both of them over the last 6 weeks have been unbelievably good. Ahmad has now returned 5 in his last 6 weeks, and he's got 2 double-figure hauls in those 5 weeks where he's returned. Enzo Fernandez, he has returned in his last 6 weeks. Every one of those last 6 weeks. Mad. They definitely have to be the best budget enablers. And if you want a cheap midfielder, it's pretty hard not to recommend one of them, both of them. But we'll look at my team a little bit later on in terms of what I'm thinking about. But like Ahmad's definitely at the forefront of my line of thinking, particularly since I'm going to Manchester United against Bournemouth this weekend at Old Trafford. It would give me an extra reason to get excited for the game. So what else did we learn? Clean sheets are still proving exceptionally hard to come by. There again were only 4 clean sheets. There was an improvement. In fact, it was 4 times improvement from last week where there was only 1 clean sheet, but 4 teams kept clean sheets this week. So it's slight improvement, but again, 16 teams aren't keeping clean sheets. Defenders are just very hard to get points from. And lots of people wanted Trent Alexander-Arnold, Van Dijk, and look what happened. Liverpool conceded 2 goals to a Fulham team. I just don't know. I don't think you can be spending 6.57 million on a defender. I just don't think it's worth it. I don't have Gabriel on my team, and if you'd held him, you were justified because he came back, obviously got 3 bonus points, 9 points. That was fantastic for his owners. He's a potential defender, but again, I just don't think they're worth that much money. Unless we can see consistent clean sheets, I just don't think they're worth the money, which is why Jurriën Timber is the most expensive defender I've got in my team. And we'll get into that a little bit later on. So, captaincy was a disappointment this week, let's be honest. Most people captained Cole Palmer, like I did, for a massive 3 points. He did get rescaled, extra bonus point tonight. So that was double 3, 6. Woohoo! But Moh Salah, he somehow, this man returns regardless of what state situation is. Every time he gets a ball, he looks dangerous. He looks like he's going to score. There's not much else to say about the man other than the fact that he's the Egyptian king for a reason, and he's probably going to break all the fantasy records this season. I just think that's inevitable at this point. He just looks so good. Even against 10 men, every time he got the ball, he looked like he was going to do something with the ball, which is just crazy in and of itself. I'm not sure. But yeah, it's just mad how good he is. But yeah, look, no good, no good, no good, no good. So which defenders do we go with then? You say, if we don't want the expensive ones. Well, Lewis Hall sat on my bench infuriatingly for another defender we're going to talk about that is no longer in my team. But Lewis Hall, I've been waiting for this the last 3-4 weeks since I bought him in on wild card in game week 12. And this is the week he delivers, and it's the week that he sat on my bench. I can't even tell you how infuriating that is. But this is FPL. Some weeks you're going to get disasters like this. And this and the captaincy decision were the sole reasons why I'm not inside the top 10,000. Instead, I'm top 23. So small little red arrow. I was top 18 at the start of the week. So all things considering I left 15 points on the bench and had Ait Nouri's -2 instead on my field, I could be in a much worse situation, especially since I captain Cole Palmer as well. So it could be, this was definitely the week to back in a differential captain. Isaac was the man, someone in our league, and I'll go into the players that played really well in the league. If you want to join the league code is in the description of this video. And also if you want to get involved in the WhatsApp group, which we're hopefully going to do a London meetup or Manchester meetup, depending on where everyone is, over the next few weeks while I'm in the UK. Make sure you join that as well. The link is also in the description with the link straight to there. We don't want no spammers though, so if you're a spammer, nick off. And then obviously we are going to look at who is the best budget enabler. I've given a hint. It is probably Enzo and Ahmad, or one of the two, or a combination. Is there someone else? Maybe it's an Iwobi who's got a really good run coming up. We're going to have a look at that. We're going to delve into it. And then obviously Brian and Buemo. Did we stuff up? Did we, and me and plenty of others, he was almost 50% owned. He's now down to 29, I think, 28. We'll have a look at that in a second. I think we definitely sold him too early. Let's just be honest. And yeah, look, Ait Nouri. Let's just talk about Wolves. It's sad to see two managers getting the sack this weekend. I'm not sure why Southampton are sacking their manager, because let's be honest, they've got a championship team. There's only one way for them to go, and that's back to the championship. You've actually got to have Premier League players in order to stay up. Sorry if you're a Southampton fan, you'll win the championship next year. But I don't know why you're sacking the manager. What is sacking the manager going to do? You're still going to finish last. Like, honestly, Gary Manil though it's a sad situation. Wolves' defense just turned out to be not very good this season, for whatever reason. Maybe Kilman was the final straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not sure. But look, Ait Nouri got himself foolishly yellow carded, which got him down to 0 points on my field. And then he got himself sent off at the end of the game, took him down to -2. And then Cunha potentially might also be facing a ban because he touched the face of someone. And we all know how much the Premier League love to ban people because they touch people's faces. Just look at Mohamed Kudus in 7 games for that. So look, there's plenty of stuff to dive into. Let's have a look at my team, how it looks moving forward. And yeah, what better place to start than how many points I got for the week with my 15 sitting on the bench with Lewis Hall. All right, and here we go. Sorry, slight little transition problem there because of the fact I am doing this on not my normal setup. So I'm having to quickly adjust screens. I pressed the wrong button. But 52 points here I got for the week. 9 more than the average, so I can't really complain too much. However, it does knock me down to 23,165. So actually, that's probably going to go up because it's still saying my game week points was 47. All right, that is going to update. Live FPL reckons I've only dropped 2,902 spots. So it reckons I'm 20,924. And maybe it is still updating the league table. So maybe I will actually be not that bad off. It is pretty much almost a great week. But disappointing considering, as I said before, we have Lewis Hall sitting here on the bench doing nothing. So look at my bench this week. I actually said last week this was a great week for me to bench boost. Fabianski 4 points, João Pedro 2, Hall 15, Colwell 2. I mean, if I just got the benchings right, I would have been laughing. Like Hall and Ait Nouri, the most frustrating thing, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit so you can actually see the whole team here when I'm doing this. Ait Nouri was originally Hall earlier in the week, and I legitimately thought that there was every chance that Hall was going to outperform Ait Nouri. And then I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, I thought, Leicester still riding a new manager bounce. They've had a good couple of results under Ruud van Nistelrooy. Surely Newcastle don't beat up them that much, and they might score a goal, like Jamie Vardy's in good form. And now I looked at Ipswich, and Ipswich just don't really look like scoring many goals. And I just thought, Ait Nouri's probably going to get some attacking returns there. Well, how wrong was that? Lewis Hall got 2 assists and looked amazing. Ait Nouri, let's just talk about him. I've had him since game week 9 when I bought him in for the Brighton game. And he got a goal. And then since then, he's got 1, 6, 2, 0, 0, 4, -2. So I can add that up for you really quickly. He's got me 4, 10, 11, 17 points in 8 weeks. He's pretty much averaged 2.15 a week in my team. That's just pathetic. The only good thing is that so many other people jumped on, so I've actually made some team value and some money out of him. So I sold him before he dropped in price. He's now down to 4.8 already because people are selling him in their droves because, let's be honest, if he's performing that badly in the Wolves' good run of fixtures, well, the last one is the one he's suspended for against Leicester, and from then on, it is looking bad. And this goes the same for Cunha. Like, Cunha's got the same run of fixtures coming up. It's going to make it exceptionally difficult to own these players moving forward. And I just don't know if Wolves are actually any good. I don't think a new manager is going to really help him, to be honest with you. It's just going to be a matter of who it is. Like, I feel like Wolves are a better team than Leicester, like in terms of their personnel. It's just they just haven't been playing very well this season. So look, he's going to drop in ownership, and I have already moved him on, and we'll get into who I've moved him on in a second. But the other players that I'm looking at, obviously I have 3 free transfers this week. I've only got 2 left because I've obviously moved Ait Nouri on already. But Matoma. Now, originally I bought in Matoma 3 weeks ago, and I have got returns of 2, 2, and 2 in the 3 weeks I've had him. Now, in fairness, expected goal involvement of 0.32, 0.32 the last 2 weeks and 0.18 the week before. I feel like I'm desperately unlucky not to have had at least one sort of attacking return the last 3 weeks. And the thing I'm thinking about, like, he's not probably going to go up anymore in price, and he's got West Ham away. Now, West Ham, I think, will concede goals, and maybe Matoma can get me a return here. But is he going to get me more of a return than, say, an Ahmad or an Enzo or someone else? Or do I just go back to O'Brien and Buemo? So there's 2 different options here I can do. So I could take a -4 this week and get rid of a Bruggen and bring in Dean Henderson a week early. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but realistically, I think I want 3 Liverpool players eventually for the double game week and potentially double game week 24 or 25, whenever it turns out to be, because they've got 2 decent looking fixtures there. Now, I think that my defender I would probably go for is Alisson in goal because of the fact that he is the cheapest way into their defence. It's either that or Kanate. Now, it just depends on whether Kanate's fit by then. If Kanate's fit, he would be the player instead. And then I'd be looking hopefully at potentially a Diego Jota as the 3rd player, which is why I'm a little uncertain on what to do. Because in my mind, I think Dean Henderson, 4.4 goalkeeper, is a better goalkeeper than Bart Verbruggen, who has done absolutely nothing in my team since game week 12. So to put it in perspective, this has probably been the worst pick I've picked in my wild card from game week 12. So he's got 3, 2, 1, 1, 1 the last 5 weeks. Like, it's just not good enough, really. And against West Ham, I'm actually thinking that I'll start Fabianski in goal and Verbruggen on the bench. Like, that's where my head is going with this. Hall's obviously going to come in for Kirkez because I don't think Kirkez is going to keep a clean sheet against Man United. And yeah, that's what we're going to go with. So, like, realistically, and my captaincy decision obviously did not pay off this week at all. I mean, I should have just been bold and creative and gone with Isaac. Isaac's numbers in this game were unreal. Like, he should have actually got more returns than what he even got. 1.42 expected goals, and he got 1 goal. And he got 0.22 expected assists for 1 assist. Like, that could easily been 2 goals and 14 points. 15 points, sorry. No, 16, because he would have got 3 bonus points if he'd scored twice as well. Look, Isaac's got Ipswich up next as well, and I really like that fixture. There's every reason. There's belief he could actually go there again, 100%. And he's definitely, like, lots of people sold Cunha to Isaac this week, and you wouldn't have been disappointed with that. Even though Cunha did return, Isaac still scored more. So I think looking forward, my forward line looks really good. and my midfield looks really good. Bruno Fernandes continues to defy the critics, a bit like Brian Mbeumo. Now, so if we have a quick look at Bruno Fernandes, he's got a nice little run of fixtures coming up, and it doesn't seem to matter if he's playing deeper or in the number 10. Like, he's still on penalties, as we saw on the weekend. And even in the start of the game when he started in that deeper position, he still offers enough threat there to, I think, keep him in my team. But other than the Arsenal game where he did pretty much nothing, he's looked pretty good in all the games since like game week 10. Like, his numbers have been much better. Like, expected goal involvement since game week 9 when he should have returned as well. 0.74, 1.37, 0.41, 0.48, 0.21, 0.14, 0.36, and 1.37. Like, it's good. It's good. And I think he's a really good pick moving forward. I don't mind him. I'm not sure why people were selling him to get in Trent Alexander-Arnold. Just seems like such a dumb move. And we'll get on to Trent Alexander-Arnold in a minute. But I just don't understand why people are going there. And maybe I'm just misreading it. I did start with Trent at the start of the season, but the reason why I didn't bring him back is because he's not getting attacking returns. Yes, he got 2 in 23 minutes, but he's got 3 in 16 game weeks for the season. That is not the people say he's a midfielder in defence. No, he's not. He's got 3 attacking returns for the season. That's not midfield numbers. Yeah, there's midfielders that cost 5 mil that are getting more returns than Trent Alexander-Arnold. Let's just put it that way. I just do not think it is worth spending that much money in the defence on your team. And let's talk about Nicholas Jackson. This man continues to deliver as well. Another 9 points on the weekend. Obviously another goal. Look, obviously the Southampton Tottenham games were slightly disappointing, but the run of fixtures coming up, it's a sea of green still for the next 6 weeks, and you'd expect Jackson and Isaac to both continuously pump out the scores. I'm super happy having them both in my team, and for a lot of people, it's like, do you spend the money in your forward line or do you spend the money in your defence? For me, I'm like going, well, defence don't seem to be keeping clean sheets, which rules out a boatload of points for them, and you're not going to be expecting attacking returns for them every week. Whereas your forwards, you are. And if you spend up a bit more money on them, on more reliable ones like I have, I think it sets you up really nicely moving forward. So if we have a look at my team value really quickly, I am up to 105.7 mil in my team value. So again, that looks really good, and it's probably going to change again if I bring in Ahmad this week for Matoma, because I've made 0.1 on Matoma, and yeah, I'll bring in Ahmad, and he's likely to rise in price again. And I obviously bought in Robinson before his price rise. So look, I've been looking pretty good. So let's have a look at some of these players that I am talking about. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, I just want to pull this up because people just don't believe me. And I'm like going, well, the stats don't lie. So if we have a look at his stats for the year, we see he obviously got the 2 assists against Newcastle when he only played 23 minutes, but I feel like he came on in a very different role in that game. All these other ones where, he did get 8 against City, but that was based purely off the clean sheet. Like, his expected assists this season have not been up there, other than like the Crystal Palace game where he was unlucky not to get one, and the Nottingham Forest one. Like, yeah, they've been there, but they just haven't been there the same number that you would expect them to be there. And I think that's the concerning thing. Like, for 7 mil, I want someone that's going to be, averaging probably at least 6 points a game from like that defensive area. And I just don't think he's capable of doing it. And especially when they concede, like, he's getting like 1 or 2. It's just, yeah, like, even if you look back at the start of the season, 8, 6, 6, 1, 11, 1. And then obviously he got injured in game week 11, but I moved him on before then. And there was 8, 2, 1, 2, 1. Like, if it wasn't for that 2 returns against Newcastle, I don't think many people would have been bringing him back in, because his attacking potential is not the same it has been in previous years. And I don't think 7 million in any defender this season is worth it. But yeah, look, if you want to go that way, it's definitely up to you. Now, Gabriel, he is someone I have been looking at this week. So there is a combination where I could go Gabriel in for Colwill, Enzo in for Matoma, and I can afford it just. And that's also by changing a goalkeeper. So like Verbruggen down to Henderson, which I don't mind either. Particularly after this week, I'd play Fabianski in goal this week, and then Henderson would come in game week 18. That would be the plan there. But yeah, look, Gabriel's like one of those players that I look back and I go, yeah, he could be really good. I'm not sure, but He's definitely got a lot of value there, and he's cheaper, a lot cheaper than Trent. Like 6.1 is probably the cheapest you're going to get him for the rest of the season, unless he gets injured again, of course. Like 0.13 expected goals, 0.04 expected assists. That's pretty good per 90 minutes. And he's got a nice little run coming up. You would expect them to keep clean sheets against Palace and Ipswich, but Palace are in a better run of form now. They beat Brighton pretty comfortably on Sunday. There's no reason to think that potentially Palace might get a goal at home, and then that blanks out the Arsenal clean sheet. I don't know. Maybe I just don't know. I'm not sure if I want to be spending up big on defence. I'm happy to take him on, to be honest. I'd rather spend the money in midfield. And that's essentially the way and the method that I've gone with. And I think that's definitely the one to go with. So when I was looking at those, so Enzo Fernandez. Now, look, he has been unbelievably good. He's up to 8.9% ownership. But the last 6 weeks have been amazing. Since he's made his way back into that team, his last 5 starts, he's got 5, 9, 5, 9, 12, 4 in his last 6 weeks. That's super good for what you're paying. 5.1 mil, even though he has risen from 4.8 up to 5.1 already. Like, the fixtures coming up are amazing. And you can't almost expect him to continue. Like, Chelsea are going to continually get goals against these teams coming up. Like, Everton away, Fulham at home, Ipswich away, Crystal Palace away, Bournemouth at home, Wolves at home. Like, it's such a good run of 6 games. He's definitely going to get you some sort of attacking returns. But then you're comparing him to Ahmad, and this is where it does become a little bit biased because I am obviously a Man United fan. But I just watch Ahmad play, and every time he gets the ball, something looks like it's going to happen when Ahmad has the ball at his feet. Whereas I don't feel the same when I watch Enzo. He looks more like I'm trying to think of like the player that he reminds me of. He's like a, I don't know. I was going to say he's like a Michael Carrick, like in terms of the way he plays moving forward, but he's not really like that. But like he doesn't. Maybe he's more like a Frank Lampard, but not as prolific as a Frank Lampard. But look, Ahmad's numbers over the last 6 weeks are amazing as well. Ever since Eric Ten Hag left, we have 0.28 expected goal involvement, 0.24, 0.23, 0. Obviously against Arsenal, that was unfortunate because he only played 45 minutes, came on in the second half. Then 0.41, 0.74. Like it's continuously going up, I feel, over the last 6 weeks. When you look at the numbers across the season, they're very similar. Like Enzo's 0.1 and then 0.22, and then Ahmad is 0.2 expected goals, 0.14 expected assists. So there's not much to split them with. There's 0.1 million to split them with. Ahmad's slightly owned by Moh, 10.1 compared to Enzo, who's obviously 8.9. I don't know. I just really like Ahmad. He just looks good. Like watching him play, he looks exciting, and like things look like they're going to happen, especially against Man City. The last couple of games as well, he's also been deployed in the number 10 position. Now, Garnacho and Rashford have been banished, or whatever you want to call it, from the squad for this last game week. I'm sure they'll be back, but I think that's a good sign that Ahmad is probably going to be preferred in one of those number 10 positions, which is fantastic for his fantasy output. And I think if he gets in there, I think that shades it for me over Enzo, because Enzo we're still a little unsure as to what his role is going to be from week to week. And I think that's where you look at Ahmad and go, if he's nailed in one of them number 10s, like I would love to see him and Bruno Fernandes, now that Mason Mount's injured again, play as the 2 number 10s every week. I thought that the structure that they had, especially once Mainu came on, Fernandes slightly further forward, just looked really good. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments of that. I actually think that they looked super good there, and that's just personally my opinion. Now, if we have a look at Brian Mbeumo, he has been tearing it up the last 2 weeks. So he's been back to having shots. So 0.6, 0.74, 0.21 the last 3 weeks. And he's got 24 points in the last 3 weeks. Obviously blanked against Aston Villa. But when you look at the fixtures now, they don't look as bad now that he's got through the Chelsea and Newcastle games, and he's got points galore in both of them. He's now got Forest at home, and Brentford are much better at home, and I think that Forest going away probably will concede there. Brighton away, well, they've been pretty damn average the last 4 weeks, and we'll look at them in a second because that's the players I'm looking to move on. And then you got Arsenal at home. Again, it's at home. Then Southampton away. Then you obviously got the 2 tough ones, Man City at home and Liverpool at home, but they're both at home. And the way that those teams have been conceding goals of late, I'm not sure if I feel like potentially he could have been a hold. And I might not have needed to have moved him out in the first place. I mean, if I change my mind now and bring him back, which there's nothing wrong with changing your mind, I think that potentially that's cool. I think you just sit there and go, okay, yep, that's sweet. We'll just do that. And yeah, look, Brian and Buemo, I could bring him back for the price I sold him for, which, there is a world in my team where I sit there and instead of bringing in Ahmad or Enzo, Matoma goes back to Brian and Buemo and Jurriën Timber becomes Munoz from Crystal Palace next week. Like, that is a play. I don't know if it's the right play. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should I wait a week and instead save my 2 free transfers this week so I have 3 next week and then just do Jurriën Timber and Matoma back to Buemo and a Munoz? And then Verbruggen probably to Henderson. I think that's the one other thing I'd need to do in order to facilitate it. So, like, look at Henderson. Now, the only reason why I'm bringing him up, like, Barbara Verbruggen, I'm going to bring up very shortly, and I'm going to show you why I just don't like him. So, Henderson's stats have been, like, I had him obviously for the start of the season. He only had that 4 against Chelsea, and we had to wait till Man United in game week 5 for a big return. Then since then, he's gone 1, 3, 3, 8, 2, 2, 7, 2, 7, 1, 2. That is a boatload better than Bart Verbruggen. So Dean Henderson's on 55 points now. He's averaging about 3.4 per game. And if we have a look at Bart Verbruggen here, who I bought in on wildcard, he's got 36 points for the season. Like, my goalkeepers this season, I've obviously swapped from Henderson to Raya, who didn't get me 1 return at all the entire 5-6 weeks I had him. Then I get rid of him and he gets 2 and like 3. I bought him Bart Verbruggen since game week 12 and he's got me 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. And I've played him every single week and Fabianski's outscored him on almost every week, which is insane. It's just a nightmare. I think that's a position I actually really do need to fix. I'm just not sure. Like, let me know do I just pay up for a decent goalkeeper? Like, the other option is I get an Ahmad for Matoma and then I just get Verbruggen up to like an Allison. Because that way I then cover the Liverpool and Arsenal defence moving forward and I don't have to worry about it. Like, that is the option. And then I obviously got a little bit of money left over and then I can upgrade one of these defenders potentially to a Munoz when their fixtures run out, like a Kirkez to a Munoz. That might be the play moving forward. And then just keep rotating those 4.5s. Or João Pedro potentially could become a Chris Wood. So, like, I could get rid of Matoma for Ahmad and João Pedro could become Chris Wood, and then I could go back to playing a 3-4-3 and then just rotate Ahmad and potentially Chris Wood moving forward. And then play the 3 at the back, just rotate, mix and match. That's the other option. I don't mind either of them. There's merits to either. Or I could even go an Ahmad for Matoma, and then a João Pedro could become a Rasmus Højlund, who also does look like he's going to be kind of nailed in the Man United Ruben Amorim system, particularly now that I think he's starting to settle a little bit on the start of his starting lineup. So look, that is definitely something I'm also aware of as well. So look, these are all things that need to be considered 100%. And look, some people obviously had Cunha as well, and a lot of people sold Cunha. We'll just pull him up really quickly as well because I want to talk about him. Now, people have started to sell him, and I think you're right in selling him because, like, they do have one good fixture left and there's not much that follows after that. And I just can't see him, like, he could score an assist this week. I think you hold him if he doesn't get banned, but if he gets banned, it's 100% sell for me. I just don't think the fixtures coming up are any good. And even with the new manager bounce, I'm not sure where Wolves are going to be heading in relation to that. And I just think there's so many better options. Now, Chris Wood, the Woody Woodpecker, now he was exceptionally unlucky not to score again on the weekend, which was highly frustrating for his owners if you're playing him. But, like, he had an expected goal involvement of 0.07, 0.01. But that was because they didn't count the offside goal. So he was close. It was just unfortunately ruled out for offside. But Chris Wood looks like he's just up and about. I mean, now that he's past that game against Villa, he's now got Brentford, who like conceding goals at the G-Tech, even though they score a boatload. Then you got Spurs, and you wouldn't be too worried about Spurs. Then Everton, Wolves, Liverpool at home, Southampton, Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham. He could be definitely in hold. It's definitely someone I'm actively thinking about potentially moving João Pedro to from, because Brighton have just been poor. Like João Pedro the last few weeks as well. The dude was playing left back at the end of the game, like when they needed a goal. Like, what are you doing there? Like 0.28 is not bad. It's a bit like Matoma, not horrible numbers, but no returns in the last 2 weeks, which is frustrating because when you look at Leicester and Crystal Palace, you think, yes, these are the fixtures I want to be playing for. These are the fixtures I want them in my team for, and they just haven't delivered. And now I'm thinking like, well, the run of fixtures coming up. If we have a look at Brighton's actual fixture run, they've played Crystal Palace, Leicester, Fulham, Southampton in the last 4, and they haven't won any of those games. And all of them would have thought 5 weeks ago they would have probably won. So I think that kind of says the kind of form that they're in, and not in the best of form. And like obviously they beat Bournemouth and Man City, but since then it's just been very bleak. And I'm not sure. Let me know if I need to hold one more week, or which way I should go. Should I go in Ahmad and then a Gabriel or Allison in the defence, or should I just go all budget and then just spend that money to bring Mbomo back into the midfield? Because to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I'm actively leaning that way. Now, really quickly, I just want to talk on FPL Challenge as well. Now, this week, it is home for the holidays. Players at home earn double points. So I have gone with this particular team. So Anana in goal. All these players are at home. Robinson, Dallo, Justin. And then I've gone with Ahmad. Bruno Fernandes is captain because he's at home. And Palmer because he's away. I just figured I think he'll go pretty well away there. And then Vardy's obviously at home and Hoyland's obviously at home as well. So all those home fixtures, I'm hoping for double points. Game week 16 did not go overly well. I only got 59, which was slightly disappointing. Palmer captain, he just did not deliver at all. In fact, my best pick out of all these was Timber and Raya, who both returned with 12 points each because it was double for 6 million and under. Unfortunately, had Andy Robertson. Highly frustrating. -3 in actual fantasy, and FPL Challenge it was -6. So that's where we're at. Yeah, look, let me know what you're planning ahead of game week 17. Game week 16, as I said, it finished with an interesting arrow. But yeah, look, and if we have a quick look at the status of the most transfers in so far and out, Robinson, who I bought into my team, he is in. So I'll quickly have a look at him in a second as well. But he is in with my team. And Ahmad, who is the second most transferred in, he's also the other one I'm interested in. I also have the Isaac and Hall obviously already. Gabriel is another option potentially I could go with. Ait Nouri, I'm one of 433,000 that have already got rid of him. Haaland continues to be sold in huge numbers. He's second on the list again. I mean, he's just disappointing for what he costs. And then Watkins and Rogers and Welbeck, they're all on that list. So that's not a surprise there. And the team of the week this week was actually a relatively, like, Issa from Crystal Palace. Absolutely amazing. I mean, obviously Tottenham beat Southampton 5-0, but really, you can't pay that as anything other than just you played Southampton. So all those Tottenham fans out there, I'm not getting excited about it. Now, Jacob Murphy, who I had on my team at the start of the season, he returned with 2 goals here. That's what I bought him for at the start of the year, but unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be long term what happens there. And then obviously Jordan Pickford, an amazing performance and goal with 8 points there in the defence. So yeah, I only had 2 players in the, and only one on my field because obviously Lewis Hall was on the bench. So again, let me know if you had any horrible benching decisions this week because yeah, let's have a look. And very lastly, we're going to have a quick look at the leagues. So in the league description is in the description there. This is going to get updated because obviously I'm up to 52 points, which means I'm going to go back into second place, not miles behind first, because I think I'll be 7 points behind because I don't think he's got any adjustments to be had there. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. The top score, actually, shout out to Finish Amit. He actually captained Isaac. So he got double 11 points. So he was the only one that did that. He obviously had Hull and Burn and a triple up of Newcastle. It was a very good week to have Newcastle assets, particularly defensive ones in your team. Unfortunately, he had Robinson on his bench. Not as bad as me having Hull. So he also got the bench slightly wrong with Ait Nouri also starting. But it's safe to say I think we're both getting him out of our teams this particular week. And if we go down to the top score of the week, that was my cousin, I believe. Where is Brev United? He got 76, 1 by 1 point. So he had Raya, Hall, Gabriel, Kirkes. He had Ahmad and Bruno Fernandes. Odegaard captain, which was interesting. Had lots of faith in the United players, but didn't go there. He still is rocking Erling Haaland as well. He really needs to free that up and get in Salah into his team, and then he will have a really good looking team, I think. So that would be what I would recommend there. So yeah, if you want to get involved, make sure you join the link in the description, and if you want to get involved in the WhatsApp group, please feel free to join. And if you are new, smash the subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. That has been my Game Week 17 preview.